What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Look at this new layout. Look at this new
I'm
layout.
liking it. I'm
Something
liking
a
it.
little bit different. Chelsea won, Manchester United won. A Premier League away point for Manchester United. In actual, it's crazy the amount of time that's passed because this was Carrick's first Premier League game, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
DJ, what did you make of that?
Man, during the game, I actually was saying that Carrick uses the pieces of the puzzle a little bit better than Ollie.
Right.
And, maybe that's very reactionary, but I did think that even in the previous game. And yeah, I just think that hard-earned point, I think kind of my predictions were either a 3-1 loss to United or a draw. And obviously a draw was kind of what transpired. It felt like the game went on for an age. I don't know about you, but it felt like that wasn't even 90 minutes. It felt like an hour and a half instead. Like not an hour and a half, like 2 hours.
Do you know what I mean? Half, my God.
Yeah.
Rough.
I think what we saw from Manchester United was the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think there was times where, we was very sloppy in possession, couldn't string two passes, especially the first half. And then what we saw was maybe a glimpse of what's to come under Ralph Rangnick. However,
so?
I think one of the interviewers before the game asked Carrick, is the formation anything to do with Ralph? And he was like, nah, it's nothing to do. It's just a team that I picked. But I think we can see that this team today was very disciplined, had a few sloppy moments, but for most part, we're very disciplined, and it's a hard-earned point against, the Premier League favourites.
Look, I will take it. I will take it. That's kind of my impression of like that. Again, that first half was a real tough watch. I mean, had Chelsea maybe had, a little bit more quality, because it's weird actually that first half. They had Hudson-Odoi's chance right at the start.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it was kind of like they dominated us, but they didn't like threaten. You know what I mean? They didn't actually like properly threaten us. But it was tough to watch, and it felt like, okay, it's going to be one of those games. We're just going to have to get through it. Try and get behind the ball. And let's face it, before the game, considering how badly Manchester United have been playing at the moment, considering we've got Michael Carrick at the helm right now, considering all this kind of stuff, Chelsea top of the league, you'll take a point. You'll take a point. Absolutely. You'll take a point. And that's kind of my feeling on it of, did we play well? First half, we did. Second half, actually, it did seem to actually be a game plan, which was refreshing. You know what I mean? Defensively, I do think you have to give Eric Bailly and Victor Lindelof credit. I thought they defended really well today.
Yeah.
Apart from Fred at the end, with what he was trying to do, I thought he did all right. There are other players which we'll get into that didn't play particularly well. Really pleased for Sancho once again.
Got a goal.
That's 2-2. When you go alone as well, you have to score. When you don't square it, you're like,
you got to have that confidence. Yeah.
But fairness, you're giving that. Wan-Bissaka, look, I know Wan-Bissaka can divide opinion, and KG's a big fan. I don't know what you think, DJ, about Wan-Bissaka. I've said before, look, I'm not saying Wan-Bissaka's a bad defender. I'm not. He's the best right back we've got at Manchester United. I'm saying that I think that the idea that the only issue of Wan-Bissaka is him going forward, I don't think that's true. Is he great at interceptions? Yes. Is he great at one-on-ones defensively? Yes. There's way more to that. Way more to that in terms of not just an old school fullback, but certainly a modern day fullback when you talk about going forward. But also you talk about knowing what's over your shoulder, positioning, just concentration, because that's what that penalty is today. It's just sloppy. It's a lack of concentration, quick reaction time, because you can't even say like, oh, he went up against someone that was really quick reaction time. It's Thiago Silva. He's 37 years old. You should probably have a better reaction time. I mean, what did you think of Wan-Bissaka's performance today?
And that's a very good question, man. I watched the game and I was having an argument with my brother about Wan-Bissaka. I'm in the opinion now that we do need a refresh at right back. Not to say that he isn't good at what he does. I've said this time and time again. I've gone on record to say that Wan-Bissaka, if he was a defender in, let's say, the early 2000s, 90s even, he would be applauded as probably one of the best ever because of his attacking. His tackling and his defending. Where he lacks clearly is the attacking department, but also now we're starting to see other holes in his game. So whether that's positionally defending, whether that's, just a technique of sometimes passing the ball. I remember there was a point in the second half he did amazing. I think it was first half or second. I can't remember what half it was, but he did amazing on the right hand side. He rode a couple of challenges, took on 2 Chelsea players, went through, and all he had was a 5-yard pass to square it. He literally puts no weight on the ball, just kind of rolls it, and it gets intercepted by Chelsea. It's those little things that are holding him back also. And then when you kind of see on the flip side what Reece James is doing, they're just miles apart, like literally miles apart. Like Reece James is tackling, he's defending, he's also attacking, he's whipping balls into the box. And with Wan-Bissaka, he's extremely limited. However, again, he is amazing at one-on-one defending, and he's very good at intercepting. But the penalty, I thought, was a little bit harsh. I mean, it's a melee. Yeah, it's a melee. You know, the ball's there to be cleared, because if he didn't clear it, we'd be moaning he didn't clear it. I think it was just quite unfortunate, to be fair. Those ones you can't really do much about, especially when there's just a whole crowd of players. That for me, we do need a refresh at right back. I think that should be our priority, to be fair.
What, over defensive midfielder?
Oh, no. A priority. Sorry, I said a priority. Yeah.
Right, yeah. I think, like I said, Wan-Bissaka divides opinion, I think. My thing is, look, if you look at, like you said, other right backs in, say, the top 4-6 sides, is Wan-Bissaka at that level? Let alone even the England squad. You know, we talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James. I mean, these are other levels. I've said before that I felt that in the summer, had we got Kieran Trippier, I don't think he was coming in to be a backup rather to Wan-Bissaka. I think he would have played more games than maybe people realise. You know, but maybe that would have been the making of Wan-Bissaka as well, because he's not. Diogo Dalot's in the squad, but he's not really competition to Wan-Bissaka, is he? Because if you're gonna pick one, you probably pick Wan-Bissaka. I just like you said, I do think the penalty was a bit soft. It's a modern day penalty. Like he hasn't intended to take out Thiago Silva, has he? Thiago Silva got there first. It is what it is. Super chat from Tabarez says somebody misses Maguire. I don't. I take the point. I take the point as well. Certainly, if you're Michael Carrick, DJ, if you're Michael Carrick, you would say, look, nobody expected him to get ready to get anything out of these games. You know, there was a concern, wasn't there? We said it here on the channel of, are we even going to get through the Champions League group?
Yeah.
We didn't even know that. Not only did he win away at Villarreal in Spain, we're through in the group. We're going to top the group. And he's got a point away from home at the top of the table. Can you ask for much more?
You can't really. I mean, it's just unfortunate, because I think just before the penalty decision, it looks like the game may have been pulling in our favour. The momentum was definitely with us, and United was attacking at that point, and then to go down the other end and for that to happen so soon after kind of us really trying to put pressure on Chelsea was kind of a big blow. But again, going back to Michael Carrick, I think honestly, I can't ask for any more of what he's done. We can clearly see from the minute that whistle went, we clearly knew what was going to happen. We clearly knew what was going on. We clearly knew that we was trying to be aggressive. We clearly knew that we wanted to try and stifle Chelsea as much as possible. We knew it was going to be probably 85% defending today, and grab a chance when we can. We knew that. And I have to give major props to Bailly, Lindelof especially. They done extremely well, especially from like set pieces as well. For me, as a Manchester United fan, it was good to see that we had a plan. We stuck to it. The players all stuck to it. And you could see even in his substitutions where his thought process, actually the one sub I thought that didn't really make much sense to me personally was Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't think he has to play every single game. I think there's a pressure now for him to play. I don't think that he should be playing every single game. Whether Sancho was tired or whatever, okay, that's another thing. But I do think that him coming on didn't really add anything to the game. I think that battle, that game would have been lost and won in the midfield for me. And I felt at large portions of the game, bit of sloppy play here and there, but the players were there to defend today. And we knew that. And we were up against a very good Chelsea team who have only conceded, I think, maybe 2 goals or something stupid like
ridiculous.
that.
I think it's like maybe 4 goals.
So 4 or 5 goals. Yeah. Something just ridiculous like that. So we knew that they would have been very hard team to score against. But today was about defending. Today was about digging in. Today was about following a game plan and utilizing the players that we have to the best of their ability. So yeah, that's why I did say it might be a kind of blueprint as to what Ralph Rangnick's going to add to that and obviously make much better. But I did see hard pressing from the beginning.
For a few minutes.
Yeah, for a few minutes of the first half, and then I was saying it like we was literally flying out the blocks towards Chelsea, and I was thinking this isn't sustainable for 90 minutes. So when the drop off going to be, and the drop off came quite quickly, to be fair. But overall, Michael Carrick should be happy with himself, happy with the players, and us as fans should be happy too.
This is interesting. Super chat from Nate says Tony Pulis phoned Ed Woodward and said he's available. He loves the way we set up. 24 shots to 3, regardless of getting the point. That is anti-football. Well, obviously, Nate, it wasn't pretty today. And is that the way we want to be setting up? No. But I think you have to be realistic and look at this in context. Had Manchester United gone hell for leather today and just attack Chelsea, we would have lost 3 or 4-0. We would have.
Yeah.
We would have, because we don't have that quality right now. And I think it's, when we get like a Ralph Rangnick in and someone that is, discipline. I think this is almost my point here, is that most managers, irrespective of quality, can park the bus. Most managers can park the buses to say, look, stay compact. If we win the ball, try and break. We're going to put some pacey players up front. It takes an elite level manager to really implement an attacking style, like pressing an elite level team like Chelsea. Michael Carrick doesn't have that about him. He doesn't. If Michael Carrick tried to do his version of a gegenpress today, like that might not even be his philosophy, but if he'd have tried, you know what would have happened. Yeah. Was it anti-football? Sure it was. But at the end of the day as well, in 2 or 3 weeks' times, people are only going to remember that it was 1-1. People will only remember the result. And Michael Carrick said that in his press conference before the Champions League game. And it was one of the points that's really stuck with me from his press conferences. They're a bit dry. Michael Carrick's a bit of a dry guy, to be honest with you. But it was a point that I went, that's actually right, when he said, he was asked the question, what message have you got for the fans? What can you say to the fans to try and encourage them? He said, look, I could tell you that it's great. We've been doing great training. I could tell you the atmosphere is great, all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't mean anything. What means something is results. And ultimately, if you look at what Michael Carrick's done in the last couple of games, which nobody expected him to get 4 points out of these games, nobody did. Yeah. We'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. As far as, laying some foundations for Ralph Rangnick to come in, Ralph Rangnick couldn't have asked for much more. He really couldn't have. He'd be like, great, we're through in the Champions League, got a point. It could be a lot worse. And was it pretty 100%. To watch? Was it pretty to watch? Of course it wasn't. It wasn't. And maybe it was anti-football. And maybe we are Manchester United and we expect some level of entertainment. And that's true. But going into today, I think a lot of people are very pessimistic. And like I said, I think we'll just take it. We'll absolutely take it.
I'm one of those that wanted us to I would just like for there to be a point where we can go sort of like toe to toe with, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. I really wanted it to be a time where we can do that and have the players to do that. I just don't think at this moment in time, for as good as the players that we have, in terms of a working system to allow that, we don't have that at this moment in time. Yeah. Especially within the midfield. I do think the midfield does need a revamp. We need to add some really, really good quality in it. I think maybe we could bring in 2 midfielders also. If the money's there for it and if it's scouted correctly, we can bring in 2 midfielders, I think, that can improve the starting 11, that are good enough, that are technically sound in the middle of the park. Whether that's a number 8 or a number 6, it doesn't really matter. Or you just get one of each. I do think there needs to be a revamp. So, big up to Michael Carrick today. He literally, as I said, he used the pieces of the puzzle that he needed in the correct way. And we've got something out of it against the really strong Chelsea team. So, yeah, 4 points is good. It's good for Michael Carrick. 4 points is good.
100%. Fan TV, Bradley, one of the moderators, big up the mods, and in the free seats, as always, says hit the like button. People, of course, take your shoes off, relax. It's Sunday. You might be having your roast dinner right now. Come on, relax. Have your Yorkshire puddings and just press a like while you're at it. Come on. Sharing's caring, guys. You know what I mean? But it's true. I think a lot of credit, like we said, does have to go to the defenders as well today in that kind of game plan. To be honest, look, Chelsea got their goal from a penalty that was a bit of a sloppy, soft penalty. Apart from that, right at the end of the game, Rudiger had that chance. But really, apart from that, did Chelsea really have proper, clear-cut chances that, in the other games this season, we've been like, tell you what, De Gea had to bail us out today.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really have to, didn't bail us out today, did he? You know what I mean? And which, again, it's a positive on the defence, I think.
Yeah, they had a lot of half chances, to be fair. A lot of half chances. But I get what sort of like that last guy that was talking about sort of, when we're talking about kind of anti-football. Today today was a job we had to do. We had to do that today. Because as you said, if you would have tried to gone, skill for skill, hell for leather, we would have been beaten really badly. And what does that do to the morale? We managed to get a win over in Europe. We managed to get a draw against the Premier League leaders. It's about building on from that. And by the time, Rangnick is appointed, and when he comes in, he maybe can come into a team that is high on morale, that is in a good space, in a good spot. Because as we know, for the last month or so, it's been hell for us as United fans. So it's about sort of building up that confidence. In some games, you just have to dig in and do what needs to be done. Be pragmatic, I'm one of those fans that would love for us to play Donny, Pogba, Bruno in the free, and it works, and it's a system, and it's fluid passing, it's brilliant. That's just not realistic at this moment in time for Manchester United. But we've got to give it time, and I know we've given Oli time for 3 years, but now we're going to be finally under somebody who's going to be going upstairs at the end of the season, who knows what the fuck they're talking about. Literally, literally that knows what the fuck they're talking about. So we're going to have to give that process some time, and I'm optimistic for it.
I think also as well, you can't forget the past so quickly. And a lot of people were coming into this game vividly remembering that we played Liverpool at home this season and we got embarrassed. Vividly remembering that we played Man City at home. Yes, it was 2-0. Could have been 6 or 7. Could have been embarrassing. Today could have been really embarrassing for Manchester United. It could have. Yeah. And again, to get out of the game, whilst it wasn't pretty, but to get out of the game with something, and most importantly, with our dignity as well, and not having people like laughing, like, look at Manchester United, look at you, you got absolutely slapped today, Man United in the mud, all this kind of stuff. We haven't got that today. People might say, oh, yeah, you parked the bus or whatever, and we'll be like, we could give a shit. We got a point. We've got a new manager coming in soon that has a clear, defined tactical style. Will it work? There are no such certainties in professional football. There aren't. But we've got a manager coming in that I think there's a lot of optimism for the first time in a while surrounding Manchester United fans. Not just obviously with the stuff going on the pitch, with the stuff happening off the pitch as well. For me, the most exciting thing isn't Ralf Rangnick implementing a gegenpress style for 6 months. It's him going up into the boardroom and being part of the conversation to have like, okay, I'm going to lay the foundations here for 6 months, but also once I transition into being a senior advisor, whatever his title is, I'm also going to search or help the search for the coach that I know can follow in my footsteps. On top of that, I'm going to help the search for players that I know fits into this system. This is part of the problem now with United, isn't it? We've been saying it before, and it'll kind of be my next question to you now is like, there are obviously players in this side, you go, are they going to fit into a gegenpress style? At least going forward, there is going to be a guy upstairs that can say, look, wouldn't get him, he's not going to fit. And then you don't have this situation where it's square pegs and round holes kind of thing. But seeing today and seeing that Ronaldo, of course, started on the bench, do you envisage maybe more bench moments for Ronaldo going forward under Ralf Rangnick? There's always this discussion about, is he going to be the guy to press? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we may see Ronaldo being on the bench a little more when Ralf comes in. And that is just because if we just be really honest with ourselves, if we take away sort of the romance with Ronaldo and Manchester United, if you really look at it from a tactical standpoint and the type of player he is, will he score you goals? 100% he will. But is he a player that can fit into that gegenpress? Like, no, he can't. For me, he can't. Maybe he will be humble enough to be coached into doing that. But at 36 years, I cannot see him fitting into a gegenpress. Now, maybe they'll do a variation of it where he can just maybe stand on the defender instead of having to press literally directly, because the gegenpress is more.
Do you kind of make contingencies for him and kind of tweak it?
Possibly. I think possibly Ralf might come in and look, he's one of the 2 best players in world football, maybe in history. Ralf could probably make it work. He could probably make it work. But in an ideal gegenpress, he doesn't fit the ideal version of that just because of the type of striker he is. Now, you mentioned obviously, Ralf going upstairs and being able to look at players. I think what he's going to do for us is amazing in terms of he will look at players across Europe that are within the 25 million to maybe 37 million mark. That bracket that might not have the biggest A-list name, that might not have the Hollywood boots on, the Hollywood haircut, that can come in and fit that style and do it to a T and play very, very well.
His record is unbelievable, isn't it? The track record of players he's brought in, I think you've probably seen the same tweet as me. It's something like, it's like Firmino, Mane, Haaland, Kimmich, Keita. I mean, it goes on and on of these players that he's brought throughout his career. And specifically, I think, like you said, Firmino was the last player I think got at Hoffenheim, and the rest of them are all, of course, at Leipzig. And it's almost outrageous, really, really, when you look at it.
Crazy.
And I'm not saying that he's going to have that kind of track record or success at Manchester United. But again, having someone that's just, again, a football guy involved in those football decisions is something we just genuinely just haven't had. We haven't had in maybe 10 years or whatever. That's the encouraging thing. Yeah. But to get back to today's game, obviously Sancho gets his second goal for United, second goal, 2-2. Obviously, massive error by Jorginho, but what did you make of the finish?
Man, composed finish, man. And you know what? If anyone's watched Jadon Sancho's career over in Dortmund, he's done those type of finishes before. Just slides it just down the side of the goalkeeper. Really calm, cool finish. He could have bottled it. He really could have bottled it. He could have passed it to Rashford, but that's 2-2 for him. And overall, to be honest, I didn't think he had the best game for us. He gave the ball away a lot in the first half, a lot of sloppy passes, which was quite unlike him. But he gets the goal. And
work rate's there, though.
Yeah, the work rate's there, and you can tell. Like today was an education, I think, for some Manchester United fans. We saw players that, with the right instruction, could improve their level even a little bit. And we saw that today. I saw players that got Fred and McTominay for as much slander as certain Manchester United fans.
McTominay man of the match, though, is ridiculous.
It's a bit of a reach, isn't it? Oh. It's a bit of a reach. But to be fair, again, they had a job to do and they did it well. Fred, again, winning the ball high up a couple of times today. Fred, I think second half, he literally ran back for Reece James. And, Reece James is strong like an ox. And Fred managed to muscle him and get the ball back. Just, that is what you're going to see under Ralph, but better, I believe. And I do think that if we can get massive upgrades on Fred and McTominay, if that's available, then we go and get those players. Because you're seeing what can be possible with these type of players that we have.
Also, as well, with Fred, like I said, I don't think he played, he didn't play bad. I thought he did well, actually. And he played well in the week as well. The only problem is that all of the work he did just got completely undone with that chip or whatever it was.
Oh, man.
But that's, I think, again, it might seem, and I'm not trying to give him an excuse, I'm not. But I think that kind of maybe does show his level in that if you're like an elite player, then you don't get a head rush. You know what I mean? You just go, okay, take your time. Like Lingard was there. If not, maybe I'll just wait. I'm still on the edge of the box. I'll do something else, or just put your foot for it. Maybe not try and do the chip or whatever. But that was the game plan. That was the game plan. People can say like, "Oh, we only scored our goal because of a mistake, and we could have won the game because of a mistake." But when you park the bus, and that's what we did. But when you park the bus and play on the counter attack, you either wait for them to have a set piece and then you break, or you wait for them to make a mistake and you capitalize on it. And that's what we did. Should we be doing this every single game this season? Of course not. But I think you'll probably find as well that every side in the Premier League, every single side in the Premier League, whether you're bottom or whether you're second, will want to go to Stamford Bridge, and if they come away with a point, they will rip your arm off.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can look too far past that today, to be honest. An interesting one was when we talked about Lingard there. He came on for Rashford. What do you think of Rashford today? It was a bit quiet, but I was surprised he came off because he was the out ball, I felt, for what we were trying to do.
Yeah. I think just tired legs, to be fair. Because when you play Chelsea and you play, City and Liverpool, you're not going to have the ball a lot of the time. So you're going to be chasing the ball and defending for large periods of time during that game. And especially a high intensity game where not just physically, but, mentally you are exhausted because they're having to watch runs, they're having to track players, they're having to think, am I in the correct position? And I think with Rashford, he may have been a victim of that. I hope there's no injuries or nothing like that. I do think it might have just been a victim of tired legs because he was trying to pressure from the front. He tried a few things that didn't come off. I think it was the right substitution. I didn't think he played terrible, but I don't think he played the best either. So it's kind of like a type of performance from Rashford. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of meh performances, you've got to talk about Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. He came off later on in the game. I want to say later on, it was like 90th minute or 85th minute for Donny, whenever it was. I don't think Bruno had his best game. Certainly first half, he really didn't have his best game. What do you think the future looks for him? Like under Ralph Rangnick and whoever it is comes in, because obviously, look, I'm not going to criticize Bruno Fernandes too much. His record speaks for himself. Yeah. Since he came into Manchester United, his stats are unbelievable: goals, assists, just driving the team forward. He is a winner. He is a leader. But certainly under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there was kind of a feeling of he was, regardless of how he was playing, he was somewhat invincible, wasn't he? You don't take him off. You don't get dropped. Do you think that changes now under Ralf Rangnick? And if so, do you think it's a good thing?
I do think it might change under Ralf Rangnick, but to be fair, I think Bruno does need a superior level of coaching to sort of refine what he does and his skills. I do believe that he hung onto the ball a bit too long today. And with Ralf Rangnick, you know what he says. He says he wants quick, incisive passing, and Bruno's a great passer of the ball. So again, I just think a little bit of tweaking from Ralf. I do think he can be part of the plans. He's showing a willingness, maybe more just before Ronaldo come, to be fair, out of the whole Manchester United team. I think him and McFred, in terms of wanting to press, wanting to get into the tackle, wanting to get your foot in, which can always bode well for your team. But again, speaking on Ralf, I just think when Rangnick comes in, he'll be able to sort of refine Bruno. I don't see him getting dropped. I would see a midfield personally of maybe Fred, Donny, and Bruno. Maybe. What did he say? Rock and roller football, heavy rock and roller football.
Heavy metal, brother.
But that's the thing for me today. And maybe people are going to call me sort of, Donny van der Beek, someone in the Donny van der Beek fan club. And I'll be real, I am. I just think I just do think with him just behind Bruno, it gives someone else a bit technical in that midfield to feed the ball to hit Bruno as well, because Bruno's always having to be the one out of the two that always tries and feeds the ball through. There needs to be a link between sort of the number 6 and the number 10, and with McFred there, we don't always get that link. So I do think Bruno will be part of Rangnick's plans.
I think when it comes to Bruno, look, my thing with him is that whilst obviously his record's unbelievable, goals, assists, and I think certainly Solskjaer, his kind of feeling was that even if he's having a bad game, you keep him on because you never know what he can do. But sometimes he's just not playing well. He's like any other player in that sense. He's just not playing well. And if you've got a big squad and it's full of quality players, then if someone's not playing well, take them off. Take them off, bring someone else on. And I think that might be the case for him going forward a little bit. I don't know if he's necessarily as indispensable as he once was. I don't mean like, Bruno Fernandes is going to disappear from Manchester United by any stretch of the imagination. But I just think those days, and he does have those days where he's not playing well, he's not as secure. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I agree with you as well that hopefully under Rangnick, we see more games where Bruno and Donny both start together, because under this regime, and even though Ollie's gone, still the same regime there right now, they see Donny and Bruno as the same guy. They're both 10s. One plays, one's on the bench, and if you bring one on, the other one has to come off. And I agree with you. I think that if Rangnick is going to play a more pressing style, I think Bruno can fit into a gegenpress. I think he's more than willing to press. Sometimes the problem with him when he's in that
presses too much.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no one with him to do it, so he can just get passed around easy. So I think he fits into there. But I think the exciting thing I think as well of Rangnick is I don't think, considering the system he plays, he has to rotate. Ralf Rangnick can't play the same 11, 3 games in a row, because that's what Klopp almost tried to do when he first came in at Liverpool. Yeah. And you saw people getting tired and you saw people getting injured. And I think we'll have a similar thing, by the way, when Rangnick comes in. I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly we start getting muscle injuries. We start getting people pulling their calves, pulling the hamstrings, because that's the system, almost, unfortunately. But we've got a big squad. And again, a problem under Ollie, there was a lack of rotation. There really was a lack of rotation. So I think it's interesting. And I said before the game, not that today was a write-off because no game is, but it's kind of just a case of like we're on the verge of something different, on the verge of something new, and it's kind of just like you just want to. It's like a kid at Christmas. You're like, I just want it to be Christmas Day.
Exactly.
Point, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think. Just touching on Bruno just there, I do think Bruno, for me, I see better performances from him sometimes when he comes on the pitch from the bench. Honestly, exactly. I think because he's that player who watches the game and he may think, I want to affect this game, like I want to get into this game and do something. And sometimes I think when he starts on certain matches, he starts really cold. He'll start cold and then warms up as the game goes. So I think. And this ain't a negative. I'd like to see Bruno maybe on the bench a little bit more. Honestly, I would. And it's not to say he's not playing, he's not a good player. I just think that sometimes to get certain responses and reactions out of players, you have to leave them out. And I think if he can spend a healthy time of maybe rotation between Donny van der Beek, Bruno, or however you want to do the midfield, I do think Bruno, when he comes on, it almost is like he has something to prove and he goes up a level. So, for me, Bruno, it will be part of the plans. I don't think anybody has to worry about that. However, I would like to see a little bit more rotation around him and Donny van de Beek.
But as I said, in that system, you can't play every game. He'll have
exactly.
to be on the bench, and
exactly.
we've gone through this sort of period in Manchester United where relatively easy to name the starting 11, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you have just this huge fixture list, it catches up to you, and especially in this system, it will catch up to. Super chat from Ben says Bruno's form has also dipped since Pogba's poor form. Interesting one as well there. That's another one. We talk about Bruno and Ronaldo. How's he going to fit in there? Paul Pogba.
He won't be here. He won't be here. No, he won't be here.
He's going to be here to the end of the season though. He's not going in January.
Yeah, but he's out for how long now?
Certainly to the new year, isn't he? Certainly to the new year.
Yeah, so we'll worry about Pogba when he's fit, to be fair. There's no point worrying about someone that's not ready to play at the moment. That's how I look at it.
Are you very done? You sound very done with the whole Paul Pogba drama.
It's just a circus to me. I think he's an amazing player. But I've been on record saying that I do think the Premier League isn't the right league for Paul Pogba. Just for me anyway. I think he likes to have about 1 million touches on the ball, look good, pose for the camera, then make the pass. I think he's just that type of player, and there's nothing wrong with that. I might have made a little joke about it, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like I think Matic should be in the Italian league. I don't think the Premier League suits him anymore. I think
Matic, where does he fit in Ralph Rangnick's press?
I mean, I'm telling you now, some of our favourite players might not get a look in under this new manager, and we've just got to accept that. Some of them.
I think some will be going in January. I mean, it's near enough been said, isn't it? I mean, Lingard's future reportedly is, still hasn't really changed. His decision's been made. Donny, I think Donny's a bit more 50-50 now than it once was. I think he's probably waiting. But there are players like I said, like Nemanja Matic, Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Where does Wan-Bissaka fit into a gegenpress?
Mate, Wan-Bissaka won't be here. January, I think he try and find a move maybe back to Spain, finish his career in Spain. And just actually, because I know it's a match reaction, but I think it's worth mentioning. I just think that there is a number of players, Dean Henderson, Martial, question marks over Dean Henderson, Lingard, Pogba. That's a lot of senior players. Maybe Dalot, I don't think Tellers, but maybe Dalot. There's so many different players that might not actually be here. Matic is another one. Jones, if we can find someone. Maybe even Bailly. There's so many different players that potentially could be on their way out. Maybe January, maybe the summer. I do think if there are a lot of players trying to push for a move in January, I think the club will say, hold on, no. Not everybody's going to be going because of the time to actually fill those spots, but definitely in the summer.
But again, going back to Ralph Rangnick coming in and going upstairs, isn't that an encouraging thing of one of the biggest problems with Man United is our inability to shift players? And this time he'll be saying to United, look, these aren't like assets or whatever. They're not going to play. They don't fit into how we play now. This is the vision. This is the philosophy. And we'll find people to replace them. That fit the philosophy better. That's part of the problem with United.
And if you need someone to find someone, he is the man. As we've discussed, the players that he's managed to sort of find, he will find, and we're not going to have to spend an arm and a leg for it. It's just so amazing and refreshing to know that we're going to be in good hands.
Exactly. That's the exciting thing, certainly. I want to talk about Eric Bailly as well, actually. You mentioned him there about his future, etc. Reportedly, he might have been one of the players that wasn't particularly happy during the Solskjaer era, despite signing the new contract last year, was relatively frozen out. It's frustrating for me, and I don't know how you feel about this. It's frustrating to me watching Eric Bailly because I see him play today, and I say, I tell you what, quality defender, athletic, does have a yard of pace, strong as well, puts everything into the tackle, slightly reckless, all that kind of stuff. But you go, tell you what, I like that defender. And then you just see him on other days, and I mentioned being erratic, it's on another level. Or he can just put the ball in the back of his net or flying into tackles, whatever. But if you're just going to take today as evidence, where do you see Bailly's Man United career going forward?
I honestly believe if the club aren't in a hurry to sell him January or the summer, I can actually see Ralph Rangnick actually liking Bailly and being able to use him. Again, he's I wouldn't say he's like Bruno, because Bruno will do things within moderation. Like Bruno will, press without the rest of the team. He does it in moderation. Bailly hits the reckless button. Bailly's basically KG as a player. If KG was a defender, that's how KG would play. Definitely.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that's exactly how KG would play. Reckless abandon. Did you see, Reece James whipped the ball in and he did this mad acrobatic clearance, and it looked great.
It works.
But what if that comes off the back of your partner's your defensive partner's back or his shoulder and goes into the net? Do you know what I mean? Like,
sometimes it will, and that's the point.
But that's the thing with him. I think with Rangnick, I think Rangnick will refine him. Someone like Bailly needs to be refined. It's almost like he's, like 20 years old, raw talent. He plays very raw. Like there's no finesse with him. And I think if Rangnick can add a little bit of finesse around those tough edges that he has, there's a player there, and that's what annoys me.
There is something there. There is something in there. I think also reason why he might be so important to Ralf Rangnick, again, if you're talking about a gegenpress where you're pressing up really high and you play a high line, obviously against a lot of teams they'll just try and do a ball over the top, or if they beat the press and it's a ball over the top, then you need your centre backs to be pacey. If you've got two slow centre backs, doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Part of the thing you see at Liverpool is that they've got such quick centre backs that they can recover so quickly, like Van Dijk, or even like Matip's got a yard of pace in him. Or see how he can necessarily work in a pressing formation, because we've seen how quick he is, or how slow on the turn he is, or anything, or reacting to situations.
Yeah.
How is he going to fit in there?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't think he fits in to Ralph's system, but there is a problem which is more of a political issue. He spent 80 million on him, 80 mil, and if he was up for sale, the only teams that would probably come in for him would be mid-table clubs or lower table clubs. I can't see any of the top teams taking him. Maybe we could do a deal with Leicester if that's possible, but I think for 80 million, this Manchester United board is not trying to part ways with Harry Maguire, at least for now. He would have to be so catastrophic for next season as well, half of next season. If his form wouldn't improve until like whenever, say if he was poor from now up until mid next year, then maybe there'd be a case to knock off 30-40 million off that price tag and sell him for 30-40 million. But as of right now, I'd be extremely surprised if there was even teams abroad that would even come in for him and pay money to take him, because I'm just not convinced by him. I know he had a good Euros and everyone likes to harp on about that, but I have not been convinced since he got back. Not at all. I don't feel safe. My heart does palpitations when Maguire's at the back because of how slow he is. And God forbid today, if he was playing and they started with Lukaku, that he would have had nightmares against Lukaku today.
You just tried to wrestle him and got thrown around all over the place. It wouldn't have been good. Super chat from Ray Diaz says, for the first time in a long time, we haven't talked how rubbish the central defenders were. Bailly and Lindelof played well, should get recognition. Absolutely,
100%,
they should.
100%.
I think it's an interesting one as well, DJ. Like if we tried to sell Maguire tomorrow, how much do you think we'd get for him? I think we'd be lucky to get half of what we got, of what we paid, rather.
Yeah, I think what United would do, right? I don't think any team would be paying not even 70, not even 60 million. I think because he's in England...
I think it's like 40. I really do think it's like 40.
Honestly, it would be... I think we would market him as 50, but then sell him for 40, if that made sense. I think because he's an England international captain, blah, 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 all of that, I think that adds on 10 million to the 40 million. So we'd say, he's worth 50 million, but he'd go for around about, 45 million, 40 million, something like that. I'm just not impressed, man. Seriously.
I don't think a lot of people are, in fairness. Just getting up some of the quotes as we always do after the game, because I've just seen that they've been doing interviews on the TV and stuff like that. First of all, Thomas Tuchel was asked by Sky, and it's such like a question. They've gone, do you feel like you're facing the Ralf Rangnick team today? And he said, quote, no, not at all. But we weren't. But they weren't. They hardly looked at that and went, oh, that's got Ralf Rangnick's fingertips all over it. No, of course they would. But of course they'll take it. De Gea said after the game, we defended well, they missed big chances, and they gave us a chance and we scored. It's not enough to draw, but the way we are at the moment, it's a big point. agree.
The hair should be on here. He's basically said what we've said.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. David, if you're watching, give us a call.
Give us a call, man.
He also said, we were conceding a lot of goals, a lot of chances, playing very poor, but now we are defending well and fighting for every ball. That is the minimum. I am proud of the team. And he's not wrong there. Again, it feels a bit silly almost to celebrate it, doesn't it? You know, oh, we got a point, or oh, we defended well, because he's right. It is the minimum. Yeah. But considering what we've seen this season, we haven't even been doing the minimum. Yeah. So I suppose when they do, you have to say, well done.
Yeah, and that's what it is about tonight. You know, we're just giving United props. We haven't been giving them props in the last couple of weeks. It's been horrible. But you know, I think what was refreshing today was there was a clear, even from the team selection, we knew exactly what Carrick was trying to do. Team selection told us everything, and the players played their part today. So, what more do you want? We could have nicked it. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's the Premier League. Have to do better in certain things, but. You know, I think today it was nice to see Carrick put out a team. We looked at that team, and it's not like we didn't know what was going to happen. It's not like we looked at the team and gone, "Oh, where's such and such playing? Or what's this? What's going on here? What's the thought process behind this?" We knew that, and it was broken down brilliantly by Statman Cam for the day. So big up Statman Cam. Cam said that the reason why Bruno was playing false nine was that Bruno was going to drop into Jorginho and try and stop Jorginho playing, and obviously you would have the midfield three of Matic, McTominay, and Fred, and McTominay and Fred's job was to go out to each of the opposing wing backs, put pressure on them, which we saw them do that. And Matic would obviously try and get onto the strikers, and that's what we saw. That's what we saw today. So that's why we're not celebrating, but we're giving them props. We're giving Carrick props today.
He also said, Carrick, after the game, he said, quote, I don't think it was a penalty at all. So he disagrees that it was a penalty. In fairness, look, I disagree with him there, to be honest with you, because it's soft, and Wan-Bissaka has not meant in a million years to kick Thiago Silva. Maybe, I won't even say like 10 years ago, maybe like a couple of years ago, it wouldn't have been a penalty. Yeah. But it certainly wasn't enough as we look into like, you know, clear and obvious, all that kind of stuff. It was not a clear and obvious error. I don't know if I want those kind of decisions to be heavily scrutinized over VAR for 25 minutes as well. But in today's age, it probably was a penalty. Like I said, it's soft.
So soft, though.
And it's sloppy. But I disagree with Carrick. Like, I don't think it's a penalty at all. Because put it this way, and this is the way I always look at it with penalties that go against us. If it happens at the other end to Marcus Rashford, Cristiano Ronaldo, do I want a penalty? Every day of the week, I want a penalty. And if it's not given, I lose my effing mind that it hasn't been given. So that would be the way I look at it, of like, it's probably a penalty. But, you know, what did you think? Do you think it was a penalty?
I didn't think it was. I just thought, my own opinion, like, I could see that there was contact definitely made. The player went over like he'd been shot, which added to, obviously, the visual.
I mean, you would have thought, honestly, you would have thought like he, you know, again, I wanted to maybe start out this with a little bit of a tribute to Thiago. If you're there, I know you're probably in hospital now, with your leg up in the air. You know, and you're getting if there's a place to send your flowers or anything like that, or chocolates, let us know. Let us know. Let's get a GoFundMe going for Thiago Silva, because apparently he needs it for his hospital bills after that today. Oh, what a load of rubbish!
Yeah, and that's just the thing. Like, me personally, I don't think that constitutes as a penalty. Yes, there was contact, but he also got the ball too, and there was quite. Even though he got the man, there was a lot of contact on the ball. It's not like the ball kind of just. It wasn't a tap. It was. The ball went up in the air, so there was a lot of contact on the ball. Did he go through the back of the man in terms of when he tried to kick it? Yeah, he did. But, I mean, it was a 50-50 at that point. And if he's got more of the ball than, say, the defender, I'd say it should go to if he's got more of the ball than, obviously, Thiago, then he shouldn't have been a penalty. But, as you're right, under these new rules, and I think Jamie Carragher was saying it, that now with VAR, you can't get away with anything. You can't. And what we did, we gave Chelsea a freebie today. Yeah, because if we didn't give them that, I think we may have held out for the 3 points at Stamford Bridge, which would have been a massive achievement. But shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Exactly. Michael Carrick also said, quote, disappointed actually when you're in front in a game like this, to have it taken away from you. Immensely proud of the players and staff in a difficult situation. Well, again, I do think, again, like you said, in a difficult situation, in a difficult opponent, if we'd have gone to Stamford Bridge there, we would have got rolled 4 or 5-0. I don't think people would have been like, oh, shocking. I can't believe that's happened. You know, I think a lot of people did expect it to happen. I agree with him also in the sense that it always does feel like an element of being a bit disappointed, doesn't it? Of being like, oh man, if we really had, shut up shop for, like you said, that sort of 20 minutes after getting the goal.
Yeah.
Because that kind of was the thought that went through my head once we got the goal, because Chelsea really started to push forward a lot more. And I thought, I tell you what, that counter-attack is on. Like, that is really on.
And
that's why I thought, I was like, man, Carrick might have played a blinder here. So maybe, but again, to be coming out of this game, being a bit disappointed, being like, oh, we could have nicked that. They're top of the league. They won the Champions League last season.
Yeah.
And again, was it pretty? No. Do we want to be playing like them? And do we want to be top of the league and Champions League winners? Of course we do. But we'll take it.
Yeah, I think one of the impressive things for me watching the game was that there was when Chelsea made errors, it was because of our press. I think that was a nice clear indication to see. Jadon Sancho, Rashford pressing, mistake. Jadon gets onto it and scores. Brilliant. Also towards the end where Fred nicks the ball. Did he nick the ball? I just remember him being so high up and he won the ball. And he's done it a few times in the game today. And I think, as I said, it's just kind of a sign of things to come. It's not exactly what Ralf Rangnick's going to do, but it's just a sign that some of these players are capable. And you can tell some of these players are trying to audition probably for the new manager when he comes in. Definitely audition.
I want to play, absolutely. Red Alert says, Owen, have you not heard? Surgery tomorrow for a fractured shoelace. Oh, Thiago Silva. Yeah, well, I'm telling you, he's going to be in a massive cast tomorrow. He's going to be there whatever. Be like, I might never walk again. And be like, I understand. We'll get some really emotional music going on. Whatever. Just that kind of stuff just bugs the shit out of me. I saw something like the other day. This is completely on a tangent, but there was some like game in Brazil where the team was winning, and the referee, I don't know if you saw this, patted him on the back, and he went down.
I saw that. I saw that.
And he went down. It's the referee. Was going to book himself. Absolute load of rubbish. Couldn't believe it. Carrick was asked whether Ralf Rangnick had any input on the match today. He said, quote, no, we have managed to prepare the team for 2 massive games, came out positive, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. So maybe stay tuned. I think there might be an announcement coming tomorrow kind of thing.
I don't believe him. I don't believe Carrick.
Do you not think so? Do you reckon he would have had a call?
Yeah. I think Ralph would have called, maybe just introduced himself, because I think they've definitely spoken. I think there's been some form of dialogue, and knowing kind of what I know about Ralf Rangnick, which I wouldn't profess to know so much about the man, but from what I do know of him, I think he would have wanted to get started yesterday on this.
Apparently he's getting, was it like videos of the training already and stuff like that, and different camera angles. Have you heard the thing about the clock as well?
I love it. I want it all. Yes, I love it.
That's tremendous.
I love it.
If you haven't heard, basically, the story going around is that Ralf Rangnick is having like a custom-built clock put into Carrington that plays this giant ticking sound, because Ralf Rangnick believes that the time ticking down motivates players more or inspires them more or makes them put in extra effort. Look, I did psychology at uni, whatever, and we're talking about fine margins. We're talking about fine margins, and that might make the difference. I don't know. That was like one of the craziest things I've ever heard. Like,
I love
I'd be terrified the place was going to explode or something.
Do you know what? I absolutely love it, and I am here for all of that. The reason being is because for far too long we have been a team that is not about football. It's all been about sponsorships, marketing, and all that other jazz. And if we're getting a manager that actually wants to implement different styles and different techniques and ways to tap in and engage with the players, I am all for that. This is about this. When Fergie was here, we was regimented. Yeah, on the pitch it looked great, but if you really know behind the scenes when Fergie was here, and I hate to go back to Fergie days because I know we're supposed to move on from that, but it's a good point of reference for what I'm about to say. It was regimented. Fergie, he expected players to be professional on and off the pitch. So that is your diet. That is how you carry yourself off the pitch. That is not going out partying until late. And I think we need to start instilling some of that stuff back into not even just Manchester United, but world football. Like, they're professionals, so act it, even off the pitch. So even having this clock installed, I think it's good. I love it. I'm in love with it. I might even just, I don't know, go live in Germany or something. I don't know. Like, I'm loving it that much. You know what I mean? I'm all for it.
I love the idea that Ralf Rangnick's, one day, just after, I don't know when it comes on the telly, maybe like 3 o'clock, turns on Channel 4, his countdown's on. And he's there. He goes, what's this? And suddenly he sees the giant clock and he goes, right, you got 30 seconds. He goes, dun, 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 dun. And he goes, wait a minute, what's that? And they go, it's a clock, it's on countdown. He goes, get it on the training pitch. Get on the training pitch. I've got so much done in 30 seconds because of that clock being on there. I've solved a conundrum. I've done my washing up. I've hoovered all in 30 seconds because I saw the countdown clock. He thought, brilliant. Get it on the pitch. Get it Carrington.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? I also think I can kind of see the logic in why he would want a clock installed as well. Because I think because when he's talking about sort of like the gegenpress, he's saying that his teams specifically like to try and get to the opposition goal within 8 seconds, 10 seconds forward passing.
Yeah,
it's going to cut out a lot of the pedestrian play, especially at the back, especially in the midfield that we have had under Solskjaer. That sort of slow sideways. But he's going to bring some rules in. No one's allowed to sideways pass. If you sideways pass, you're off. If you backwards pass, you're off. And I love that because we never had that under Oli. We didn't even have that under Jose. Yeah, it's beautiful to hear, and I can't wait.
It is exciting. And
51 minutes.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
We've got our own clock counting down at the moment. The clock till DJ disappears and then comes back in. Get ready for it, guys, because it's inevitable.
It's
just
coming.
Like the other day, I don't know if you saw. We were talking we're doing the Ralph Rangnick thing, and someone said, "Oh yeah, Flex, I agree with you. I don't see what the Marvel Star Wars hype is," and I went like that. I'm not even going to do it. Because when I did it, Flex disappeared. Flex disappeared, and I thought for a second, it worked.
It worked.
But then I thought the magnitude of it, DJ. I thought, well, I've got rid of Flex, but how many other people have I got rid of? Imagine getting rid of half the universe on a United View Ralph Rangnick stream. Imagine explaining that to people. What happens? Well, kind of got rid of half the universe because apparently I have infinity fingers going on right now.
Everyone that doesn't know what me and Owen are talking about, please go and watch Marvel films. Watch it. Awesome film, man.
Watch it. And that's to you, Flex, as well. If you ever watch this as well, watch it. Okay, all the references will go flying over your head. Getting back to the game though, for the last couple of minutes here. So we've got Arsenal on Thursday. Games come thick and fast. Now, I don't know if Ralph Rangnick is going to be in charge for that one. Most people are expecting he will, but there was another one saying that actually he might not be. There might not be enough time. Who knows? If he is in charge for the game on Thursday, do you expect to see much difference in terms of how we set up or how we necessarily press? Can it happen that quickly? What do you expect to see on Thursday if he is in charge?
Difficult question. He does seem like someone that's very proactive. Very now. We're doing this now. We're not doing it next week. Or I'm not going to give you time. This is what I want, and this is how we are going to play. So it just depends when he can get on the training pitch with the team. He's still going to have to figure out some of these players. I know he's probably doing his.
Oh, see, I told you every time. We were always going to get the timing was going to happen. We even proactively said that he would disappear, and he disappeared every single time. The only frustrating thing is I didn't click my fingers. If we'd have timed it right, and I had to click my fingers, then we would have got it properly. You know what the problem is every time it happens, my head gets cut in half, and it looks like I've just been brutalized midstream. Not only has DJ disappeared because I snapped my fingers, my head's cut in half. It's terrifying. But continue.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that he seems like someone that's very proactive and he's going to want to actually implement it straight away. So it literally just depends on when he gets down to Carrington and when he gets on the training pitch. And that's where we will see. If you say he arrives on, say, Tuesday, Wednesday, he'll only have a couple of days and then the game's there. So then I think he would just kind of maybe talk with Carrick. He may even ask Carrick who's fit, who's not fit. And I'm sure he would have done his homework on some of the players, but it's not enough time to make an actual, in my opinion anyway, massive change. I think we'd maybe see a little bit more of the same until we can get them on the training pitch, maybe a week past, 2 weeks past, and then we might start seeing, the style implemented. But it's going to take time as well. I don't think he's going to, change things overnight. We've got to give him time. We've got to be patient. And I know it's hard being patient as United fan. We've been patient far too long. We want results. We want world titles. We want cups. We want all this stuff. But we've got someone in now that's a football man, and he definitely, if anyone deserves time, he definitely does. because he has a track record for it.
Also, as well, I think amount of time he will have. So let's say he's not going to have him in tomorrow. If they're in, it'll be recovery. So he's not going to have a full proper training session. Full training session Tuesday. Maybe not even a full training session Wednesday because you've got a game Thursday. So realistically, having them fully out on the pitch, it's like one day.
Yeah,
it's one day. So that's when you are going to be relying on maybe less traditional methods in terms of, right, we just got to be doing video analysis. We've got to be doing shape work. We've got to be doing whatever it may be to try and get this across as quickly as possible. Because it's not as if as well, he's going into a game that's like, no disrespect, Norwich at home or anything like that. He's going up against Arsenal, who are playing well at the moment, or who are, they've got, was it like the youngest starting 11 or youngest squad in the Premier League? Yeah. People like to banter Arsenal. It's always a lot of fun. I would recommend it. But they're playing well this season. They're certainly playing than they were, and they've got really threatening players. And my concern going into that game would be is that if we are a side that doesn't really has a tactical plan but isn't familiar enough to really implement it, going up against a side like Arsenal, that's a risk. That is absolutely a risk.
Yeah, Arsenal have been, for me, very indifferent. We've seen a resurgence with them. And a lot of my Arsenal friends, they've been quiet for a long time, but now they're starting to sort of creep back out now, and they're happy with the direction the club's going and the results of late. So, cool. But I still think and this is me when it comes to Arsenal. I always still think we are too strong for them. I think we've got too much. We've got too much on the bench. We've got too much on the pitch for them. Yeah, they can have their moments. They all have moments, but I think. We've still got players like Greenwood to come in, cover. And I hope we do see Greenwood, because I thought Greenwood would have done well today, to be fair, brought on.
He's just coming back from COVID, wasn't he? That's why,
yeah. So maybe we won't see him just yet. I think maybe Greenwood's maybe another 2-3 weeks off. But I think we'll have enough for them. I do think we might scrape it 2-1 win, Manchester United. Early prediction.
But also as well, I think maybe a positive is that maybe if we're not tactically right up to the level we need to be, the place is going to be buzzing, because evening game under the lights, Arsenal at home, new manager, first game. You talk about the importance of the crowd. That might just be enough to, especially when you're going to have tired legs, not just playing after a game on Sunday, game on Thursday, but also tired legs of playing that style for the first time. There are going to be players that are going to be flagging, and maybe it's just a case of, for those who are at the game, of like, right, we got to get these guys over the line. Yeah, because they're going to need it, because they're going to be tired. They really are.
Yeah, they will be. And I think if he does come, if Rangnick does come in by Arsenal, I think just him being there is a lift for the players. And again, most of these players, they're going to want to impress. So it's a kind of a boost. It will be a boost. There will be some form of boost for Manchester United, I do believe.
Hopefully so. Well, look, it's a point that we'll take today. Maybe not the prettiest point, but certainly I can speak for myself here. A point that I didn't necessarily think we were going to get. As far as tomorrow, it's Sunday today. I always feel like it's Saturday. Whenever there's a Sunday game, completely throws me off.
Throws you off. Yeah.
So tomorrow should be the full view, I think. Tuesday, I'm having to do a quick schedule in my head at the moment. Tuesday probably would be Flex and KG show. I don't even know this. I'm making this up on the spot, guys. Tuesday will probably be Flex and KG show. Wednesday will be match preview. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know when the press conference is going to be, though. It might be either Wednesday or Tuesday. We'll figure that one out. And then, of course, Thursday it's match day. So match day again, and then the next game's it's got to be Sunday, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, it should be
Sunday.
Thursday. Yeah, I think it's Sunday. Sunday. Yeah, have to be a Sunday game. Yeah.
So it'll be Sunday. So there's plenty of stuff coming up as we get into this festive period of football. So now is the time. Now is the time to subscribe. Now the time is to like. Of course, Flex has been, while we've been live recording all the fan views today. It was. I'll tell you what. By the way, shout out to Flex and Josh, specifically Josh, for getting that match view going, because there was a full studio today. Full studio, Flex and guests. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, actually, to see. United View's always growing, always developing. Yeah, there might have been a couple of technical issues, but you know what? It's live, brother. It's live. That's live television. These things happen. And as we grow, we get better. We try new things. We try new avenues. And guess what? We succeed every time. That's the exciting thing. Look, guys, as always, we will speak with you again very, very soon. Be sure to hit up DJ on social media as well. He's a very responsive guy. He's a very responsive guy. I've been trying. I've been trying, but I feel like I waste everything I need to say on the streams, and then I have nothing else to say.
Mate,
That's
I could talk
problem.
for England, man. So I'll be thinking
Exactly.
of, even now, I'll probably tweet in a minute. So yeah.
Exactly. So be sure to hit DJ up on social media. He's at DJ Talks _. That's the one to check out if you want. I'm at Mr. OWEN UFC. Sometimes I tweet, sometimes I don't. It's largely sort of indifferent content, but like,
you ration your tweets. That's fine.
Yeah,
you
absolutely. I don't want to get greedy. I don't want to get greedy. I don't want to saturate the market too much. There's plenty of that going on. Anyway, guys, we're out of here. We'll speak to you again very, very soon.